Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance is a Netflix series that stars a huge cast including Mark Hamill, Lena Headey, and a bunch of other people. The series is a prequel series to the movie Dark Crystal from 1982 that was a creation of Jim Henson himself. The movie takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where there's only two Gelfling left, and this Netflix series takes place before that. Now, this Netflix series, in my opinion, is a lot... the original is great, but this is a lot more fleshed out, and it feels a lot more epic than the original did.
Yeah, this is actually one of the best fantasy stories we've had in a while. It's the film has always been regarded as an underrated gem, and I feel like this Netflix series is gonna take it to the next level and make it a naturally as one of the great fantasy franchises we have going on today.
It was funny because we went to a shop while we were still watching the show, and they already had Funko Pops and everything out. So I think
figures.
Yeah, they had action figures. They had Funko Pops. I think the creators of the show knew, like, we know what we have. We know that this is going to be another big thing. Like they were. I feel like they were pretty proud of it, and you can tell because there's a lot of. The show does a really, really good job. It knows when its big epic moments are. It knows when its big holy crap moments are. It knows when to do like these big, huge, epic shots. It knows how to do emotional moments. And there's a couple times where I almost cried, and they're just puppets, and it's amazing. That's another thing. The puppetry in this show is freaking amazing. It was great in the classic in the 1980s movie. It was fantastic, but in this show, it is amazing. And I will say. What's amazing about this is they use puppetry just like they did in the 1980s film, but they only use like CGI and visual effects to enhance what's already there. But the base is still puppetry, and it stays true to the movie, and it's really, really good job. They did a really good job, and it was really, really well done. One thing that was really, really great that caught us both at the first episode was a bunch of huge, big, epic, sweeping shots that they had, trying to show you how big the world was. Show you well, you had the Stone Clan, which was like I think it was like the Gelfling of the Stonewood, and then you had like the
caves.
They showed they had the caves. You also had the Almadra, which is like the queen and everything. They showed you all the different clans. Like this show did a really, really good job of fleshing out the world.
It takes what you know from the film and actually expands upon it. You have this. You see different clans in this show. You have some clans look Native American. Some clans look more African. Some clans have more of a blue painter-like, blue tint to them. Others have this underground native cave-like way to them. Others have this very queen, very elegant looking, and you also get to see it dives more into the lore. Like dream fasting in the original film was it happens only once. And it was done to just kind of give these characters, to kind of create a moment between these two characters.
And kind of exposition as well. It kind of explained, like, you had Jen, who was, like, supposedly the last of his kind. He was supposedly the last Gelfling, and the Mystics raised him. And they're like, Jen, it's time to take the shard back to, and, like, he's this chosen one, right? And then he ends up meeting Kira, and then the two of them get to know each other by dream fasting. And that's kind of the only thing that really happens with it. But in the show, what's really cool about the dream fasting is there's a lot of moments where they need to explain something. That's one thing that was really, really cool. That I was really afraid. They have this moment in the show where they kind of pass it out. I was like, oh look, we're gonna have it like he's just gonna be a liar. We're gonna trick the entire public into thinking he's this person he's not, right? And I was very, very worried that it was going to be this cliche of just like, almost like kind of a liar reveal kind of story, which we've seen before, but I was kind of worried it was going to be that. But then what they did is they used the dream fasting to kind of help that situation, where someone's like, dream fast with me and everything, and he's kind of able to explain himself, right? So they were able to use that as a very good tool.
I was not expecting them to have all these large sweeping shots where you see these beautiful landscapes. It reminded me of Lord of the Rings, actually,
right?
And things like Game of Thrones as well. Like you get to see you get to see, them writing these. What are they called?
I don't remember what they're called. I don't think they ever say what they're called. But like these carriage things, like Well, they have so the
They're
Gelfling ride the Land Striders, and then what's cool is that the Skeksis actually have these carriages, which have like these. They're like centipedes, and then they curl up and they become like they're like huge centipedes that like curl up and become the wheels of these carriages and everything. And they ride through it, and during those shots that's when they have those big sweeping shots. And they have like a lot of like lens flares and everything, and it's really really cool.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shots like them coming into town and everything. And what's funny is there's a shot in like the very first episode where the Skeksis are riding the carriages and they're coming into the town, right? And you've got, I think it was Bria. She's looking, and it reminded me of Bran in the first episode of Game of Thrones, where
he's looking down at the
Yeah. It reminded me of that, and I was like, that's cool. I know that's not what they were going for, but it reminded me of that because of how good the shot was. And one thing that I have to applaud, like in the movie, the Skeksis are just the villain, and you're like, how did they get such a higher power? And this show does a really, really good job of showing you, like, hey, the Skeksis were put in charge of the crystal, and they were told to protect it, right? And so they were put as lords, or that these Skeksis, since they're in charge of the crystal, this big, huge symbol of power and everything. These Skeksis need to be protected so that they can protect the crystal, which is like the heart of Thra, right? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So all the Gelfling, like all of the living creatures in Thra, look up to the Skeksis, and like whenever they come in, they bow to them and everything, like lords and everything. And so like when they come and everything, then they have like offerings to the Skeksis once a year and everything like that. So that you really see like how the Skeksis got to the power that they were at. So it was really, really crazy. Now I don't want to spoil anything for the show because you should go check out the show for yourself. But there's a lot of really cool story moments that caught me off guard. There's a lot of moments where I was towards the first half of the show, I was like, well, we're just kind of getting to know the show a little bit, and I was worried that there's gonna be certain cliches and stuff like that. But once I got past the first few episodes, I wasn't worried about cliches anymore. Because I was like, this show is doing a really good job of doing something different and original and trying to just give us a good story, and it's not trying to just cash in on fans of the movie, it's trying to give us a good story. So I stopped worrying about cliches and just got invested in the story, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the most impressive thing is in a fantasy film or any fantasy series is the lore, the world, like characters and story. That's always important, but the lore and the way this world works and how everything kind of flows together, and everything all things are connected, and how this world works, how it was created, and the balance of it, and how these people live, and how these different tribes have the history about it.
Right.
That's something that was touched upon briefly in the film with the exposition scene. But this show is all about showing and not telling.
Yeah.
It allows you to just get sucked into this world, and you're so invested in these characters. The show gives you a lot more than the movie had, because that's what Jim Henson wanted to do a lot with the film. He wanted to do so much. He wrote a big series of books, which none of us have read. I'm interested in reading them because this got me sucked into this show. Makes me want to go read those books because they sound so fascinating.
Yeah.
And I would rate the show honestly probably a strong 9.
Yeah, same. Strong 9. So yeah, Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
It's excellent.
9 out of 10. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you want to continue to watch our videos and everything, there's a little button down below. You can hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, you can hit the like rating down below. And we will see you in the next one.
See ya.